Hi boys and girls, this is day 4 of your Colonial American unit. As you probably learned, the 13 colonies were split into 3 regions: the New England colonies, the Middle colonies, and the Southern colonies. We're going to take each day to look at the 3 different colonial groups and learn about them. Today you're going to learn about the New England colonies. You're going to be watching a video and reading some information about the New England colonies. After watching the video, and as you read the article, you will be thinking about what information you think is important. We're going to be creating a tree map to help us organize the information. The tree map will be organized into 6 sections. Number 1 is founder, who started the colony. Number 2 is geography, what the land looks like. Number 3 is religion, or the beliefs of the people. 4 is economics, how the colony made money. 5 is government, the rules, laws, and leaders. And 6 is labeled miscellaneous, other interesting facts you would like to remember about the New England colonies.
So first of all, what does the word colony mean? Well, a colony is land that is settled or taken over by another country. For example, the 13 colonies were settled by European countries, but all of the 13 colonies eventually fell under the control of England. And when we refer to the colonists, we are referring to those living in the colonies, besides the Native Americans who were there first. Most of the colonists were from England, and all of the colonists would eventually be considered British subjects. So when talking about the different regions of colonial America, we divide the colonies up into 3 sections: New England, the Middle colonies, and the Southern colonies. So let's start to the north in New England. New England consists of Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. There was no Vermont yet, and Maine at this point was considered part of Massachusetts.
Okay, boys and girls, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video because I know that I need to write down some information. My tree map is organized with the 6 different categories that we talked about, and now I'm going to add some information. I did learn what the 4 different New England colonies are, and I think I'm going to put it under geography because it talks about land. So I know it was Massachusetts and Connecticut, Rhode Island, and finally I'm going to write New Hampshire. This will tell me what colonies make up the New England colonies. I'm going to keep watching the video and stopping it every time I need to write down something new.
England had to deal with extremely cold winters. While the land along the coast was flat, inland was very hilly and mountainous, and this, combined with a rocky soil, made farming difficult in New England. However, the cold did reduce the spread of disease.
Okay, boys and girls, I am again going to stop the video because I learned a lot more about the geography of the land. I'm going to write down that I learned that they have long and cold winters. That's important because that talks about climate, and climate has something to do with geography. Again, notice, boys and girls, I'm not writing a complete sentence. I'm not going to try to write everything that I read from the video. I'm just going to write the most important details. Long and cold winter.
Of disease. Because of the cold climate and bad soil, New England farms were small. Therefore, New Englanders relied on other businesses to make money, such as furs, shipbuilding, fishing, and trading. Timber was desperately needed by England to build ships, homes, furniture, and other goods, and New England had vast forests. New Englanders also often looked to the sea for sources of income and developed an extensive fishing industry that still exists today. Whale oil was a valuable commodity. It was used in lamps and soaps, and Nantucket and other fishing communities developed large whaling businesses. For the most part, the colonists relied on English imports of finished goods, such as glass, linens, paint, and household items, and New Englanders prospered off the Atlantic trading network. what historians refer to as the triangular trade, developed between England, Africa, the Caribbean, and North America, as mostly raw materials flowed from the colonies to Europe, or England, and slaves and manufactured goods were shipped to the colonies. Boston, New England's largest city, greatly benefited from the triangular trade, developing into a major shipping and trading port.
Okay, boys and girls, I am going to go ahead and stop the video so I can add more information to my notes. I am not going in order on my notes because the information that I'm presented with in the video is not in order. The next section that I'm going to focus on is economics because I learned how people in New England made a living. Some of the things I learned was that they were shipbuilders and shipping was a big industry. I learned about lumber because they had a lot of wood in New England colonies. Fishing was very important in the fishing industry. Trading. I learned how important whale oil was, so I'm going to add that to my notes. Notice again, I'm just sticking with the short key phrases in my notes. English imports was important. That means products brought in from England. So I'm going to write down some of those products: glass and paint and linens. And I'm going to put a line under those because those ideas are connected. And then I'm going to mention the triangular trade because the video talked about that trade. Okay, so even though my information is not in order, I'm stopping the video and putting it in the right category. How many details I'm going to have in each section really depends on what I'm learning about it. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to keep going with the video and stopping every time I learn something new that goes into a new section or new category in my tree map.
Because New England never developed the large, spread-out farms found in the rest of the colonies, the people there lived closer to each other and had much more social interactions centered around towns. The church was central to New England life. We discussed the strict religious rules and persecution put in place by the Puritans of Massachusetts in a previous video. And while the other New England colonies enjoyed more religious freedom than Massachusetts, there was much less religious tolerance in New England than in the other regions of the 13 colonies.
Okay, boys and girls, I did learn some information about religion, and I'm going to add the notes that I thought was important. They talked about a group of people called the Puritans who followed very strict rules. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line under there. And then I also learned that the church was very central to their life. It was central to life. And again, I'm going to try to write the least amount of words as I can. And again, all my notes should be written in a way that I can go back and refer back to them. They should be as neat as they can possibly be. And again, keep them short and simple and just key ideas only. Under religion, I only have 2 key points, but perhaps after reading the article, I can add more information to my notes. Okay, boys and girls, I'm going to ask you to finish watching the whole video. So you'll click into the video link and you'll watch the video. I also would like for you to go to the New England Colonies text and read the whole article here. So you will read this short article. It's going to have a lot more information on the Pilgrims and the Puritans, how they made a living, and so forth. Okay? And then on the next slide, you'll see that here is the complete New England Colony notes. So each section has a little bit of information, either from the video or from the article. And what you'll be expected to do in the next 2 days is to learn about the middle colonies and the southern colonies and add to your own tree map. More directions will be given on the following days. I hope this helped you understand how you listen to something, watch something, read something, and stop yourself to take notes. Notes should always be short, key ideas only, in your own words as much as possible, and something hopefully that will be helpful for you to remember what you learned.